think we're live. Are we going live? Is this live? Is the scale? Everything's working? You guys, hi. Hi, guys. Hello. Hey, guys, what's going on? I'm Paul. Welcome to Coding After 30. And this live stream, we're just building stuff. We're building projects. We're kind of moving forward because the idea for my cat's everywhere. The idea for this, just kind of jump right into it. I want to make sure that all of you guys are building stuff from scratch. You're building original work for your portfolio. Because there's so many things on YouTube like clone Facebook, clone Twitter, clone this, clone that. There's too many goddamn clones out there. And at some point, I mean, don't get me wrong. Cloning things is a great way to learn. But at the same time, you need to work on building stuff from scratch where you're going to be solving like your own problems that you're going to have, not somebody else's problems. Man, Nick, love the muscles. You look real good, my man, in that picture. What's up, Nick? How you doing, buddy? But the point is, it's like my job, right? All the difficulties that I run into, all the things and issues I have, if I haven't started practicing building stuff from scratch, I would have never been able to keep my job, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to do the work. And so if you rely on a crutch of following somebody else's tutorial, which is nothing wrong with that, but by the way, when you're learning, but at some point, right, after a bunch of tutorials, if you took 3 to 5 tutorials, no more, like, stop. There's no reason for you to take more tutorials, because you're just going to be repeating the same stuff you already learned. Tutorials will never get you a job. Tutorials will teach you how to learn to code and how to start building stuff on your own, right? But what's going to get you hired is the ability to build stuff from scratch. And that is why I have this Tuesday night stream, just to build stuff. You see me suffering, you see me struggling, you see me breaking stuff. But the point is, I want to motivate you guys to be the 20% out of the 80% of people on YouTube who just watch YouTube videos like I used to do, and actually start doing the work and start building stuff to get yourself out there. Hey, Nick, I've just started watching you a few weeks ago, man. Love your content, man. Thank you. I love the fact that you're here, you know, and watching us, you know. So this is going to be awesome. So yeah, anytime you guys have any questions, let me know. But the whole point is, you know, let's not try to do any more tutorials. If you did like 3 or 5, let's not try to do another clone of something or watch them. Let's start our own project from scratch. And that's kind of what I have been doing on this live stream. Today, we're going to take a look at the code that I worked on. Obviously, I only work on this stream. My audio is like too loud. Let me knock it down a little bit. Obviously, I save a lot of the stuff and bulk of the work to do on the Tuesday stream live with you guys. But today, I want to review what I've done, the changes that I went through, kind of take a look at where we started, what we accomplished. And the reason I do this is because I want you guys to see, if you put in time consistently over time, and do a little bit every day, you're going to move your portfolio project forward. And also, I want to get you guys all involved. And so, you know, like, if you want to come on and share your portfolio that you guys are working on, you want to get and show the code, you want to talk about the code, which I think is a great way to practice, you know, for interviewing, is to come on and show someone your project that you're working on and talk about it. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys are working. Dominic saying hello. What's up? How you doing today? And so, let me pull up some stuff here. First, I'm going to pull up like the initial kind of idea we had, kind of to be able to like talk about what did I want to build. And obviously, a lot of us, when we start building projects, we try to build a scope too huge, too big. So one thing I would recommend, come up with like a simple idea of what you want to do, what you want to build. Don't make it too complex, because remember, you could always add features. You could always add more features. So for this initial prototype, kind of this idea, what I wanted to build here is, let me share my screen here. And yeah, let me know if my audio is not working. I think it's fine. I think you guys can hear me. I think the music's not loud, but let me share my screen here. So for the first initial portfolio, and like the whole point of this channel, by the way, guys, is for you guys to get motivated to build stuff for your portfolio, so you guys could get hired. So you could have stuff for your resume, you could have stuff in your portfolio, and you could get stuff done. So we had a very simple idea. Let me just come back here. We wanted to have one view, which is just going to show data. There's going to be cards of projects or portfolio projects that you're working on, or if somebody's working on, what have you. It should be able to show a photo. It should show their avatar image. It should have a detailed picture, which was going to lead them to another page or like, and obviously we're gonna make sure if you want to see more of the content or you want to like, you have to be authenticated, you have to be logged in. So if you click the detail button and you are not logged in, it's gonna ask you to log in. Once you're logged in though, you're gonna be able to like stuff, you're gonna be able to click the details, and that's gonna take you to the detailed page, which is gonna have the details about your portfolio, links to your projects, and then to your GitHub and to your portfolio site, and then ability to leave messages. And then for our backend, we're using Strappy to make things easier. We basically have 4 data types in our backend. We have obviously our user, you, the developer. We have our portfolio that we're sharing. We're going to have comments, and we're going to have likes. And this is something that I planned out ahead of time, and then I kind of made a list of kind of what are the things that we have to accomplish to make things work. So we need to be able to display the portfolio, display the user avatar, app upload button, make sure it works, make sure we have routing and all this other stuff. And so I'm gonna show you kind of where we're working with now in a second, but let me come back to the comments here. Not like that too many people watch me, but funny you talked about cloning websites. I'm actually almost done making a Zillow clone. I'm doing it in Vanilla.js and PureCS and Sass. What are your thoughts on it as a portfolio project? To be honest with you, I make fun of it because I've been there, I've done that, and like, look, I joke around a lot on this channel. With all seriousness, when you're starting out, that's the only way to learn, is to follow along somebody else. What I'm saying is, let's say if you had like 10 clone projects that you've done already, but you haven't built one from scratch where you planned out the application yourself, you're really shooting yourself in the foot by doing other people's tutorials. And so there's nothing wrong with that. And I think when you're starting out, because I did it, right? Put whatever you have into your portfolio, right? So if you have a bunch of Udemy courses that you completed, if you have a bunch of tutorials that you completed, put them into your portfolio, because you have to start somewhere. You have to start with something. You can't have an empty portfolio, right? You need to start. And the bare minimums, right, is you want to make sure you have your GitHub, you want to make sure you have your LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you have your, what I call a resume website, and your portfolio pointing to it. So there's nothing wrong with that, Nick, and I think you should do it. But the challenge should be, especially if you've been trying to get a job and you haven't been hired, maybe because you're experienced interviewing or whatever it is, maybe we just need to make sure that we spend more time building from scratch. When I switch my mindset to this idea of like suffering is okay in coding and building things from scratch and struggling, it's a normal part. And you know why it's good? Because this is exactly the feeling you're going to have when you're working at work. Like today, I was banging my head against the desk at work because the code that I was writing, wasn't working. There's no tutorials that's going to help me because it's a problem particular to that specific code. So I had to read stuff online. I had to go to Stack Overflow. I had to like debug stuff. I had to do all this crazy stuff to get it to work. So there's nothing wrong with putting your original stuff, but I'm still going to push the fact, once you build 2 to 3 project clones that you follow somebody else's tutorial, move on to something else. And look, a bunch of the stuff that I have on my Netlify, I'll show you, I build following people's tutorials, and that's how we start. But now this is why I'm on this stream, building original content, original idea. And my next step here, let me just quickly say hello here. Hologram Nunchucks, what's up? Always great to have you. We have, hey, Psychedelic Tales. Hey, good to see you here. Man, Nick, then it's not, bro, you're killing it then. If you're not building it from a tutorial, you're building it from scratch, I can't argue with that. Dude, you're on the right track. You're probably doing even better than I am. You know what I mean? So, but that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see you guys taking the initiative and building stuff from scratch, because I'll tell you this, you'll never feel comfortable enough to build something of your own. So I wasted 4 or 5 years just doing tutorials on and off, not really learning anything. And it's only when I committed to building stuff, and I still suck. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like some dude like telling you like, oh, look how great I am. Well, I'm not. I got a job. I work as a developer. I increased my income after a year and a half of working. I started making $13.75 an hour. Now I make $40 an hour. I'm still on my journey. I'm still moving on. But the reason why I tell you this is because I don't want you to waste your time. I want you guys to get into it and get stuff done. Get that job. Get that thing that you want to do. Because at the end of the day, how do you make money as a developer? You become the best developer that you can. And that's why, even though I'm on YouTube, that I love YouTube, but my main goal is to become a developer. My second main goal is to coach people who are looking to, my kitty cat. Thank you, kitty cat. Everybody wants to see your butt. Thanks. I'll see you later, kitty cat. Man, mind went blank when you see that tail flapping around. What does that say about me? But anyway, what I was gonna say is that my goal is then to get to a point where I'm coaching people on, JavaScript basics, React basics. That's how I want to make my money. I don't want to make my money as a YouTuber. I want to make my money as being a developer and teaching on the side because people tell me that I would be good at it. You know what I mean? And so let me see here. Leon, what's up, Paul? Those are some good looking wireframes. Man, yeah, thanks, man. I try my best. I really, put not that much effort into it, but I probably should have put more, but I know you mean it. It's awesome. Currently remaking a news blog, Flex and Grid, after Bread HTML CSS course. Crazy how much you can forget struggling, but it's coming along. Dude, keep it up. You're killing it. Everybody who's building stuff from scratch, like, I can't say enough praise or love to you guys. Like, as long as you, like, it's like, how you, like, if you're doing like a lot of like cocaine and you gotta quit, that, it's like tutorials. It's like your cocaine. You need it. You gotta take it. It drives you crazy, but you never get anywhere. Maybe you get somewhere for a little bit, have fun, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you gotta cold turkey, quit tutorials. Like, don't get me wrong, I still learn and watch tutorials, but like, I don't, like, it's only for very specific things now. You know what I mean? It's not like to learn the basics. I know once you know enough basics of programming, you got to build stuff, and you're going to learn more by building stuff. Actually, there's like, I'll show you guys in a second. Let me say hello. NCH, what's up? That's crazy, lol. I guess it's hard to tell when you're doing well when there's so much to learn. It's like, the more you learn, the more you realize you know. That's actually very true point, Nick, and I'm glad you brought it up. It's because when you're starting out coding, you might be like, oh, wait, this is nothing, whatever. In 3 months, I could be a developer, whatever. Don't get me wrong. Maybe like 1% of people do it because they've maybe coded before and stuff like that. It's like, I'll give you like an example on this in a second, how some people get into, a job in 3 months, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but that's a great point you're making, because if you're seriously studying programming, you actually, for a while, you're going to have the imposter syndrome grow and grow and grow, because the more you learn, even though you're building more, you're doing more things, you realize how much you don't know. Like, at my job, I'm like, holy crap, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know this. I don't even think about what I know, because there's so much to learn. And that's how you know you're really getting into the thick of it, because you never feel that confidence, oh, I got this, because nobody's got this in development. Like, they just constantly learn. Like, there's senior engineers that I talk to that still have issues that they're solving that take time. But here's the thing, like, so I don't ride a motorcycle. I don't pretend to ride a motorcycle. If you gave me a motorcycle right now, I would kill myself. So you could go and take a motorcycle permit test. I could pass. It would be like a weekend of riding in the parking lot, and they'll give me the license, and all of a sudden I could go and ride the motorcycle. I'll probably kill myself because I don't have the experience as a rider. But somebody who came to that same motorcycle class could have been riding on the ranch or home, whatever, legally for 6-7 months, 3 years, 4 years. They have that experience, and now all of a sudden when they get the license, it's not that in a week or 3 months they got the license. They already had the experience. They just need a little bit to tighten up or get a piece of paper or whatever. I'm saying that a lot of cases like that is where people might get something in 3 months, because learning full stack, which I don't recommend right away, I started with front end, in 3 months is like very difficult, like, unless you're super motivated and a genius, which I'm not. I sometimes go blank and have issues with how to use divs and containers. How many in different cases? I mean, it's up to you. Like, think of a div like a container, like you just mentioned, and so you could have as many divs as you need. I try to not go too crazy, like, so like, I'll show you kind of this example here on my, well, I don't have a way to highlight. That's dumb. Like, I was gonna be like, oh, you know what, but we could look at the code. We could look at the code in a second. So guys, anyway, let me you could definitely ask more questions, and today I'm gonna review kind of what we talked about. So let me share my screen here. So for the tech used on my project, I used React on the front end, Strappy on the back end, using GraphQL to connect everything together. So our back end has this nice kind of place that we're not going to use, but Strappy comes with it. Usually, like, when we're going to add data, we're going to add data from our front end, but at least Strappy comes with a nice user interface. So if you wanted to add a user, you could do it from here. Easy. And I'll show you this by example in a second. I can make the screen bigger too, probably. Yeah, and so, but this is our application up to this point. So currently, we're getting data from our API, and it gets an image, it dynamically gets your avatar picture, it gets basic description and the name of the portfolio, right? We started with the most basic data that we can, proof of concept, to make sure that our backend could talk to our front end. Now, if you're not logged in, like notice I'm not logged in here, because this button would disappear if I was logged in. If I try to like something, it's gonna kick me to a login screen. It's like, no, if you wanna like, if you wanna give feedback to somebody, you gotta log in. You can't just be liking and disliking stuff if you're not logged in. Same thing for the details. You want to see the details, you have to log in. So here I go. I'm going to log in, and we'll look at the code in a second. And my super secret password test user. And so when we logged in, you know we're logged in because I see now my avatar of my user. It says, hi, Paul. That's my name. So I'm logged in as a user. And if I click log out, obviously I'm going to log out. But now, like, I could like. Notice how I could like or dislike stuff, right? This works because I'm logged in. I'm authenticated. So when you're building applications, very important, regardless if you do it from scratch, if you use OAuth or you use Strap, you liked it for authentication, you have to think about this idea that you need to understand the concept of authentication, and that if a user is not authenticated, they should not be able to do certain things. If I wanted to see the details now, it will take me to the details page. By the way, we have these awesome links that will take you to your GitHub. So if you're a user in this, right, you have your GitHub, you have your LinkedIn. I put my YouTube here. You probably don't have to. You're going to have your website. And like if you had a link to, let's say, your live site and GitHub, it would show the buttons here. Like I think one of the projects does have it. So I think it's this one. Nope, not this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, so this one. And obviously this is a link to this one. But if you have the live button, you click to see a live demo. It'll take you to show you the live demo, which is actually the app that I'm building. If you go back, if you click GitHub, it's going to take you and show you the code in the GitHub and stuff like that. And so, we're making progress, right? And some of you guys will look at me and be like, look, this is easy. I could make this in a day. Well, go ahead and make one. You know what I mean? The point is that my challenge to you is not if you could do something better or worse. My challenge to you guys is that you start building applications where you think about functionality. This is the secret to this application, because everybody, like, and it's no fault of anybody, but we build applications just to, basic sites that after we build it, it kind of works. We put on like Netlify or whatever, and then we share it in our portfolio. The goal for this website, guys, is for me to actually build the functionality, deploy it, and have you guys use it, right? So at some point, I want you guys to help me out and test this application and be like, hey, Wally Codes. I'm very bad pronouncing names, so yeah, thanks. I'm glad, like, it looks cool. I'm trying my best here. It looked like crap before. Now it looks like a little like crap. And the point that I'm saying this, by the way, is that, like, I don't want you guys, like, I want to put myself out here. I don't care if someone comes in here and they're like, Paul, this project sucks. And then when they look at my code, they're like, I don't know, like, whatever file here. They're like, whatever this file is garbage. Whatever you wrote is trash. And they'll say that to me. And, like, who cares? I'm doing the work. I'm not, like, spending time watching you. Well, I watch YouTube videos, don't get me wrong. But, like, the point is for us is to keep doing the work. So this is the basic functionality. And so eventually we'll be able to add users from the front end. And what's cool, by the way, here, let me go back here. Notice how I have these likes here. Right, these are my likes, my personal likes. But let's say I log out and log in as somebody else. Let's say we have, I think Aria is a user, and we do test user, because test user is the most secure password you could ever have. Luckily, I'm on my local environment. So notice now it's a new user, it's hi Aria. And notice she has different likes. She doesn't like the same things I did. So it's saving on the database the likes of the things that the user liked, the things that, different to the user. So eventually, just to kind of talk about, if I go to details here, use this as an example. Let me go back to the other one here, like this one, because it had the nice button here, makes it more cool looking. But eventually what I want to do is I want to have this community build website that you guys will be able to use. You guys see me build it. You'll be able to complain about it if something breaks, and I'll be like, okay, let me fix it. But the idea for all you guys, the big goal of this project is to have a site for everybody who's all about building portfolio projects. And what we're going to do, the first basic initial stage is kind of like what you see here, have a basic outline of what your project is. I have to finish this section and the message section, but have this describe blah blah blah, my project, that's this is the tag I use, have all your socials on here so people could find you, have your live demo on your GitHub if someone's interested, and here have a message. Someone could leave you a message, be like, hey, I really like your project, let's work together. That's like step one. Step two of this is going to be give you ability to actually manage the steps of your portfolio that you work in here, and be able to also give score to people that have their projects. After you rate people on the projects, you give them a score, and then the most eventual goal, maybe one day, maybe never, who knows. Like, I'm gonna work this project till I finish it, by the way. But once this is done, the goal is here to have recruiters be able to come in. They'll be able to go to a site that says developers, and they'll be able to see all the highest rated developers on the site with highest rated portfolios. And so the goal is to lift everybody up to be and create the level of portfolios that have a high enough mark that when we go get hired, when people see what we're building, they're not gonna question our skill. They're at least gonna know, like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. And so let's get back to the comments here for a second before we jump into the code. Question about portfolios. Should we have a few projects in Vanilla.js, a few using a framework? So everybody has a different thought. I think, like, for me, what I recommend for people, and we could go to Netlify, I'll show you some of the simple ones I have. I think you need to have one HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project. And again, I'm only speaking from the bias that I'm a React developer, JavaScript developer. So if you do ASP.NET and C#, just apply what I'm going to say to that. So number one, you should have a basic project, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And so I'm going to actually be able to show you some examples. 1 second. I'm so slow at, like, clicking things. Okay, here's actually, I'll show you this one because this is like what I challenge people to do in our Discord channel or what have you. Your first project should be something simple like a portfolio site like this, right? I didn't go too crazy. It should be responsive. And what you want to do is you want to add JavaScript functionality to this. Notice how, like, my menu disappears and then it reappears. That's JavaScript. You know what I mean? I could have done more JavaScript here. My form validation here, like if I click submit, it'll be like, no, you can't submit. You got to type in like a name. And so this is handled with JavaScript. And not only will it be like you have to type a name, you can't type numbers because there's no numbers in the first name. So I do some sort of like validation here to make sure that people give good data. And so, you know, they type like proper names, phone number. Why am I typing letters in the phone number? So it would be like, it'll check if the phone number has legit number of characters. For email, it will do like the same thing here. Like you could only add like, you know, write your task, then you submit the form. So that's handled with JavaScript. I know, like, if I like this, scroll to the top, is handled with JavaScript. Let me kind of zoom out here, make it mobile. Not really mobile. Let me make it so, like, you see this button here, JavaScript. So your first project, right, you should build something that's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That should be your first project. Your second project should be basically using a framework, but not going too crazy where you have authentication or where you have whatever, but it should be some sort of simple React application where you smashing. You're hitting an API endpoint. And I see Nick, congratulations, Valley Codes. Let me see. I actually got an email dev job 2 months ago, and 30 definitely will be coming by more. That's awesome. Congratulations. Think about moving to a 70-90 gig a couple of months. Not sure how many low, what position, probably Shopify, dev, or front end. That's amazing. You're going to kill it. Congratulations. You're killing it already. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. See, everybody could do it. That's what we're going to do. That's why we're here. That's why I'm in the channel. We want to talk about the reality of learning to code, not talking about the hype, not talking about all the crazy stuff, and just like do the work. So let me bring up another project. So another project would be like your second project would be basic demonstration of React and the fact that you are able to work with some sort of API. I have 2 examples here. One of them, oh, hold on a second. That's not it. I have a lot of bad examples in my code base. So I'm like, okay, which example to show them that looks not trash? So let's see, get cocktails, blah, 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 React battle git, like this one. So this is an example of a project that is built with React. And for a second there, I was like, am I not share my screen again? That's kind of common of me, not share my screen. But here's a React application, which basically works with a GitHub API, which allows you to search users. So you want to create for a second project, a simple React application that shows that you're able to get data from an API, right? And do some sort of like, for instance, here, if you go to battle, we could go here, enter to GitHub users. I guess I'll enter my name. And then there's somebody on GitHub named A who's killing it apparently. So I submit, notice it gets my, image, so it gets my data, and then when you hit battle, it uses a very simple algorithm to compare who's going to be the winner. Obviously, this guy with name A on GitHub is killing it with everything else, but whatever. The point is that I have logic that decides who's a winner, who's a loser. So like little thing, and like basically for your second application is creating something that uses an API, and you use a given framework, and you show that you're able to at least retrieve data from an API. Another example I had here, and this was from, I know that's not it. Let me back up. Another one. Let's see. Get cocktails, React battle, blah blah blah. Where's the next page? I hope I have something like this. This one looks bad on the big screen because I made it for a phone. So let me shrink it down a little bit. But here's another one. Again, this is not full CRUD application. This is like a COVID tracker app that basically hits an API. It looks up countries and COVID cases. You could click on the thing for the country. It's going to show you cases today. It's going to show like by this like a little graph that I made. Like, so yellow, I believe, is recovered. Red is people, unfortunately, that did not recover, passed away. And gray represents total cases. So it visually tells you that, yeah, there's COVID going on, but most people are recovering, which is terrible for people that not. God damn it, that sucks. But anyway, this is another example of an application that is getting data from an API and displays it. And for your third project, it's kind of exactly what we're building here, where you have users, you have authentication, and you try to capture the whole CRUD functionality. You'll be able to create, read, update, and delete data. And that's kind of would be my third master project. And your third master project is like your big cornerstone project. And that's what we're building on this Tuesday stream, to showcase this is kind of like what we're doing. And it's up to you what you decide, but start building stuff from scratch. Start building your own thing. Like, my goal is not only to build this, but to deploy it and have you guys actually use it. You know what I'm saying? It's basically the goal. I want to have not only an application I could show my portfolio, but I want to have an application that I deployed and have actual users. So I could say, hey, I built this application that has this many users and stuff like that. And Wiley Code says React projects that integrate and get data from the API. Yes, 100%. And so, anyway, if you have any more questions, let me know. If you want to join our Discord, let me throw my our Discord link here. And by the way, if you haven't smashed the like button, definitely smash it. Not for me, but for all the friends that are here, chilling with us, talking with us, because yeah, I joke around a lot. Sometimes I say a lot of stupid stuff, but at the end of the day, I want to have the most positive YouTube channel on coding where I tell you the truth, even though truth hurts, right? Because, learning how to code is hard. And just recently I talked to John Smigler, one of the top Udemy instructors, and about tips on how to learn. And we kind of talked about that. Most people just don't and I'm gonna, once I get those videos done, I'm gonna release them. He gave so many great tips on how to keep at it, keep going. And the point is, it's a grind. You got to put in a lot of effort. You got to put in a lot of work. And what was the other one? The other one is your third application that is basically kind of like I have here. And the requirements for your third application is you don't have to build a full stack application from scratch, but you should have a backend. We're using Strappy in our case because it's very easy to set up, create a backend that you could then use to populate the data with your front end. But here's the things you need to know if you're going to be a web developer. If you're going to be a web designer, totally different. Don't even listen to me right now. But if you're going to be a web developer, number one, you need to have this concept of a backend. So where you're able to create, read, update, delete from the front end. So you're able to add like a blog. I wouldn't, like blog would be the bare minimum, but like a blog website, or like this example here. If like I didn't build out this functionality, but eventually you'll be able to log in as a user. As a user, you'll be able to write your own articles here. You'll be able to add, modify, and delete your projects. So you'll be able to come in, you'll be able to add your project. Your project is going to show up here. You know, if you're like, oh, I misspelled this wrong, you'll be able to click on it, because you're logged in. I don't have that functionality yet, but it's going to have this edit button here. You'll be able to edit. If you need to edit your links, you'll be able to do all those changes from the front end. So you won't use the back end strappy. So that's the idea, is to be able to do create, read, update, and delete from the front end. That also means that you're saving data to a database. I'm not saying you have to be an expert on database. In our case, we're using Postgres. You could use MongoDB. Don't use, you can, but don't use Firebase, because it's not a highly hireable skill. Even MongoDB, all the companies that I worked up to this point, they've all been using PostgreSQL. So if you're starting out and you want to make sure that at least as your first database, you're getting comfortable with something that people are actually using, do a SQL type database, and then after that you could learn Mongo. I have projects in both PostgreSQL and Mongo, and that's kind of where I stay right now, because there's no reason for me to use Firebase. I know a lot of people say it's great for prototyping, and you could do that. There's some applications that run really well, but for a case if you're looking to get a job, stick to the technologies there people are hiring. And so the point for this main project, I'm kind of all over the place, but you should have authentication, create, read, update, delete, and you should have this concept that your data lives somewhere on a database. So that's kind of like what we're going to do. And I could because this stream is all about talking about code. And in today's class, I want to I want to talk about kind of like what I did, the changes I made, some of the challenges I had. So, and if you have any questions about anything, let me know for sure. I'd love to answer them. If you want to go over some examples and stuff like that, definitely. So let me switch to, first of all, let me show you like the GraphQL backend. So I don't know if you guys ever worked with Postman. Postman allows you to test REST API endpoints. So a REST API endpoint, and I'll kind of show you by example here. Like, let me go here. So REST API, not admin. So REST API endpoint would be like if you have like things like projects, like I know we have in this portfolio, we would have whatever our URL is, and we'll have an endpoint project, right? And you'll go into it and you'll see the data that you're able to query from, like, for that project. But then you're like, well, I want to be able to get users. I don't know if it's going to work because I might have made users private, but let me see. Yeah, so users is forbidden. You shouldn't be able to see users information on a public endpoint. But I know we have likes. So if I hit likes, it will show the likes. And so if you wanted to, through the traditional REST API, if you wanted to get the user and then see the likes they have, you would first query the user, and then you would get the ID of the user, and then you would make a separate request to likes endpoint here. I know you guys can't see. I don't think I could make that bigger. No, I can't make that bigger. And then you'll have to make a second query to get the likes and then present it to the UI. The cool thing about GraphQL, it doesn't have different endpoints. It only has one endpoint called GraphQL. You know, at least that's what you call it traditionally, but you could name it whatever you want. And what you can do, instead of making two different queries, like get the user first, get the ID, and then get the likes, you could do it, you know, all in one place. And so I'll show you like an example. Hold on. So like, look, I could query a user by ID. Now, if I wanted to get, let me make this bigger. And you don't really have to understand this so much, and you could, if you have questions, let me know. But the point is, it's hitting one endpoint, and you're like, well, I don't just need ID. I want to get the users. Let Actually, let me see what this has here. So we're able to get email confirm. Like we could get the first name, right? We could get the last name, right? And we click enter. We get, see here, we get the ID, we got first name, last name. Now, if I wanted to get the projects associated with this user in a traditional REST API, I would have had to use this ID, and I would have had to make a separate request. So it'd be additional request to get the data. Not so with GraphQL. With GraphQL, I could just say projects. And then I want to get the ID of the projects. I want to get the name of the projects. And this is the field names I given. And I want to get the description. And I click enter. And now not only do I get my user data that I asked for, you know, first name, last name, I'm also able to get my projects, still one request, where in a traditional REST API, it would have been like 2 requests. Let's say I wanted to get a, you know, project, and then I also want to get all the likes, right? I would have to make user request. I would use the user ID then to make a request for projects, and then I would have to make a request to likes. Where here, I'm like, okay, we have projects. Let me type likes. Actually, I'll just return like count, right? And it's not a separate request. It's all one request. So this only has 2 likes. Boom, I get that information. So that's why for this project, I chose GraphQL, which is amazing. If you're just starting out, it might be a little bit overwhelming, but one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because it's different. This is something we use at my job, and so I want to make sure that I get better with it. But you could learn more by Googling GraphQL. You know, you could go to GraphQL.org. It's basically a standard of, it's basically a query language. And the best way to get started, you know, instead of creating backend with GraphQL, which is actually really hard, you could get something like Strappy, like we're using here. You set up Strappy, and then in the backend of Strappy, you just install the GraphQL plugin. Boom, I have this GraphQL plugin. And then on the front end of your application, you use Apollo client, which is here. Boom, Apollo client. And it's not that difficult to do. You know, you just kind of get started. And yeah, it does look like JSON, which is not JSON, but there's a reason why it looks JSON. Let me quickly say hi to Luke. What's up, Luke? I don't know if I'm the best, but you know, I try my best. I know all of you guys try your best. That's why you guys are awesome. But while you're looking like JSON, that's a great observation. And that's one of the reasons I like GraphQL, even though this is not JSON. This is query language for like GraphQL, but it's structured like JSON because basically the way GraphQL works, and this is basically what it say, they use the example here. This is beautiful, like, right? Like, so smart. They did it. You describe your data in your, this is when you write your own GraphQL, which if you use Strappy, you don't have to do unless you want to. But what we're worrying about in my application is you ask for what you want, like you saw me, you know, I want the project and I want to get the tagline, and then it will return that JSON version of it with that data. So the things that you ask for, you get exactly what you ask for. So like I'll show another example here. So let's have, you know, open. I got too many things open. User, project by user. Okay, so it's like I want to get a query, and I'm going to query projects because you don't have like a lot of things. And what do I want to do? I want to get the name of the project. I want to get description of the project. I want the developer first name, who did it. And then you get the data that you ask for. That's the beauty of GraphQL. But then you're like, you know what? I don't want the developer's information. I don't want to give them credit. I'm going to steal their idea and use it. So you just ask for name and description, and that's what you get back. And that's what's cool. So great question. I love that you guys asking question. And Apollo basically is what hooks our Strappy backend to our React frontend. So what Apollo allows us to do And of course, you could go to the site, and it's on the client side. That means it lives on your React app. But you guys could go to this website, check it out. But I will, of course, not leave you hanging and show you what we do. So what Apollo allows you to do, it gives you a mechanism to be able to make those GraphQL queries in your front-end application. So basically what you do, and if this looks ridiculously crazy, just have no worries, because this is just what do you call it, boilerplate that you literally copy and paste to initially set up your application. So basically what you do, this is from their website, you want to get all your settings right? You set up your settings and you export your client, which basically will have access to all the wonders of the GraphQL Apollo client. Then what you do, you use the Apollo provider. And so as not here, it's here. You use your Apollo provider, similar to if you had the context provider or Redux provider. You use your Apollo provider, you pass the client configuration that you set up based on what you read in their documentation. So don't be shy, look at documentation. And that allows you now to have access to the use query hook, use mutation hook. There's a couple other ones, but for this example, we're just not gonna worry about them. And so now I have access, like for instance, on my, let's go to pages here, and let's go to our, let's say, home page, to their projects. Are you gonna open my projects? I just, yep, there it is. And let me know if the text is too big. So basically now we have access to this amazing use query hook that comes from the Apollo API. And this is already pre-made, so you just read the documentation that tells you how to use it. But basically what you do is you pass your query. So project query, let me go here, is basically the thing that I showed you in the playground. You see, it's the query, and it's like the same thing that we have here. You see, we have our playground. Oh, where'd the playground go? Where'd the playground go? Playground. So this is the playground projects. So it's like the same query here. And this is why I like the GraphQL Playground, because it allows you to test out your queries first. So I hit here, boom, I get the data that I want, it works. Then I copy it from the playground, go to my application and paste my query. And basically what happens, I click into many buttons. Let me zoom out. So, oh my God, what am I clicking? And basically you pass your query, you pass it to this use query hook, it returns either error, data, or loading. And then I basically do, if something is loading, show that little spinner thing, great. If there's an error, show an error, which right now I didn't put any error message except error. And obviously if none of those two things happens, that means data exists. And so then we get the data, we loop through the data, and we go to the definition, come on. And then we have this project card that basically will write out the data and showcases. If this doesn't look like regular HTML, because this is actually React Bootstrap components, so these are Bootstrap styled components, and you could get the library. You could Google if you're building React applications and you just don't want to waste your time doing CSS, maybe doing some basic kind of touch up. You could use React Bootstrap, which basically has some, all the most popular, components that you could use, from React. Like for instance, like I could copy and paste this. Not saying you guys, it's, it's nothing wrong with copy and pasting as long as you understand what this looks like. And then I could go to my application. We're gonna go into our home page. And then inside this container, we're gonna add a div. I just want to show you like that, instead of writing a lot of the styled, creating a lot of stuff from scratch that I don't want to keep myself bogged down, you could basically use React Bootstrap. Boom, you copy and paste this. It says that we have to import carousel. I can't spell, guys. Okay, and then that's basically imported. And then if I switch to my application here, go home, Why is it broken? But the carousel is here. You see it works. The reason it doesn't work because the images don't work, because they might have like the links that they used. Yeah, they don't go anywhere. So let me go find like a link here, just to show you that it's fine. But basically the point is that, you know, when you're building stuff as a solo developer, you don't have to build open link in new tab, open image in new tab, so I could get the URL here. You don't have to build everything from scratch. And by the way, you could always go back and be like, you know what, I don't like how Bootstrap implemented their carousel. Instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to rebuild it myself. I'm just gonna plug these the same image for everything, just so we could see that the code that React Bootstrap provided is legitimately working. So if you go back to our React application, look at that. I have this beautiful, I mean, we could style this better. You know, I could, like, with Bootstrap, what's cool, like, and again, if you read a little bit about these like items here, I'm like, you know what? I don't want this carousel to be here, so I'm gonna cut it out. I want my carousel to take full space, and I already know this, so like, don't think I'm smart, but if you do container fluid, I believe it's going to take on all the width of the container, and then I could drop my carousel in here. And now if I go back, look at that, I still have some padding here, but here's our, let me zoom out, I'm like zoomed in to like 1000 billion. And so now look, with Bootstrap, we could probably size this better, but look, we have this amazingly looking carousel. And that's from React Bootstrap. It's basically Bootstrap styled React components, if you're wondering. But yeah, and so we're using GraphQL like I just mentioned. It's pretty cool. What else here? Let me kind of look here. Oh man, I'm kind of slacking here on the comment section. Thank God I only have like 5 followers. Yep, yeah. How long did it take you to get used to React rules like not grabbing items in the DOM with DOM selectors? I'm struggling not touching the DOM for basic things like removing metal. Buddy, amazing point. The reason I was able to do that is because I didn't learn enough JavaScript and I sucked at DOM manipulation when I started learning React. So I actually didn't know how to, I'm telling you the truth, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't know how to manipulate the DOM at the time. I do now, because I got too good at React and I was like, I don't know how to do this in JavaScript. So I went back and I had to relearn all that stuff. But I basically had no other way. And so I learned from the start the React way of doing it. So what I would say for you, if you're struggling with this, just know that React, I think it's called like virtual DOM. That's what they use it. So React will make changes to the virtual DOM, and then React in the black box will actually make the actual changes to the actual DOM. And so you don't have to worry about DOM manipulation. So anything like get selected by ID, blah, 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 use like on, you know, add event listener, you do not need to do those things. There might be few cases where you need to directly have access to a component, and you could do that with React refs instead of actually doing, you know, using, you know, get element, because the whole point of React is for you not to write the DOM rendering yourself, if that makes sense. And if that didn't make sense, let me know, and I will try to rephrase it if I can. And so, like an example here, and that's a great question, because let me go to my code pen, and I showed you guys this before, but that's the whole point of React, is to make, you know, creating something much faster and easier. And I have like, I don't have that many examples, so I'm sorry if you guys have already seen this example, but I'm going to show it to you in a second. Let me find it. And if I ever like try to show you something and my screen is not working, like definitely yell at me. Be like, bro, what are you doing? Oh, Jesus Christ, you can't see your screen. So I created 2 applications which were like basically the same thing. Just have to find it. And like I created what was it? Kanye West quote generator. So let me share my screen here. And so, the reason why I did this is because I wanted to showcase how a lot of the stuff that you do with vanilla JavaScript that you have to do, React kind of hides and make it much easier. So let's look at the vanilla JS example here. And I probably wrote a lot too much code.
The world needs more joy. This idea is super fresh.
Yeah, Kanye West always gives some good quotes, but I probably wrote a little too much. And by the way, if you look at the HTML, look, there's no HTML here. So all of the HTML is generated with the JavaScript. Obviously, we have styling. And so I created these functions that help me generate the HTML, you know, add on click, add all this other stuff. Again, if this like looks confusing, it's okay. But the point is, there's a lot of work that you have to do with vanilla JavaScript, and you know, you have to handle all that functionality. Then you have to have an update function to update your UI anytime, like for instance, every time I click, it's gonna update the UI to get the next quote here.
All you have to be is yourself.
That's right, just be yourself, you know. And it's basically 143 lines of code with vanilla JS, because you have to do the DOM manipulation manually yourself. Now, if we go back and look at the, oh my God, React, because React makes it much easier, you know, you just create your functions. Even though this looks like HTML, it's actually JSX, which transpiles to JavaScript. And so it's very clear and very easy. And I can show you some examples. We could play with some React too. You know, I set my state, you know, I write my function, you know, whenever you click the button.
We as a people will heal. We will ensure the well-being of each other.
That's right, Kanye. And that's it. It's 40 lines of code, because a lot of that DOM manipulation is smartly done by React. So great question. And what I would say is, when you do React, trust React and do things the React way. So there is no direct DOM manipulation. If you feel like you have to do direct DOM manipulation, just stop, pause, and be like, no, React does it for us, so I don't have to worry about it. And so let me go back to my code and delete that carousel, because I don't really need a carousel at the moment. Yep. Yeah, and if you guys have any specific React questions, let me know. We could do some examples too. I'm just undoing the code here before. Yep. And just so I don't break my application, let me go look at some more comments here. Yep, dope. Text looks fine. Okay, so Bootstrap but in React, dope, super useful. Yeah, so basically, the reason why you don't even need to use React Bootstrap, right? You could literally create your own components and give them React styling, but React Bootstrap, it's already pre-made, so it's like, why not just use their components? Thoughts on Tailwind, Alex? That's a great question. I actually like Tailwind, and I'm using it for the next JS version. I'm basically rebuilding this same project that's gonna use well, let me show you it here. I'm actually rebuilding same version of this application, but it's going to be more of a presentation. This is going to have like the back-end dashboard for all the developers, but I'm also making a front-end version for recruiters to be able to easily look stuff up. And for that, I'm using Tailwind. I love Tailwind. My issue with Tailwind is that it's not as popular in a way that it is used by a lot of companies. That's like my only issue with Tailwind. And I'll show you the Tailwind project if I didn't break it in a second, but not to kind of get too far away. But the idea is that Tailwind is just not as commonly used. I worked for 2 companies, well, 3 if you count WordPress development. Even in WordPress development, we used Bootstrap. In my last 2 companies, we used Bootstrap. We also use Material UI, which is very common, but never used Tailwind. So what I would say, if you don't have a job yet and you don't know how to quickly make something with Bootstrap, learn Bootstrap first before using Tailwind. Nothing wrong with learning Tailwind, except most likely the job that you're going to get is not going to use Tailwind. But Tailwind is awesome. And let me see if I could find like the project that I started working on and then did not do anything with it. No, I'm doing stuff with it. I just want to finish this one, which is going to take me forever. Don't get me wrong. We're going to finish what we start. And luckily, I think I'm using the same API. I hope that my front-end application is going to work. So what do you mean by using empty object? For instance, let me go back here. Let me share my screen here before I come back here. No, where am I going? Where am I going? Like for instance, like if we're doing, let's say I had, what am I clicking buttons for no reason here? So let's say you had const and you had you know, some state, and then you had set some state, and then equals to, let's say, use state. I think I have to import use state, and you set the initial state with an empty object. I'm too lazy to import it from the top. Oh, I still have to import React. I guess then I'm not gonna be the lazy way. It's cool, like in the new React 16, you don't actually have to import React. You could just import the things that you need, like use state from React. So, and I'm not using it. Like, unless you set the, you know, when you set the state initially with an empty object, you know it's empty, you know. But if you wanted to check, like, a lot of times, like if I don't have data, and like there's nothing wrong with setting it with an object. If you're going to expect an object, I could put it null. You could put object, of course. And so the only time you're going to actually have stuff in here, right, is if you set state. Like for instance, if, let me go, let me do this, and actually I'll do it here. Who cares? It's the row. This is in project card. Let me do little fragments here. Actually, just what am I doing? It really depends what you try to accomplish. I'm probably giving you like the longest answer to ever do that. So let me back up here, because the simplest thing to do is go to Google. And I think it's called HasOwnProperty. Check if object is empty. And I think like there's a thing called HasOwnProperty. So there's different ways to check if object, like you won't really need to do this in React unless there's like very specific use cases. And you need to check if it's empty, if loading data synchronously. Yeah, let's talk about that part. We could talk about it. And normally if you're getting data from the API, you're going to get an array of objects, by the way. But I'm going to show you like in the code example that I use. But let's kind of come back here. So that's one way right here. You could write a function called isEmpty, and what this does, if an object has a key, right, and the length is equals to 0, that means there is no key, then the object is empty. We could actually test this out here. I'm going to show you. I have this cool thing called run.js. I love this thing because I love run.js because here's like cool part, like you could just like try stuff out. So let me, like that example that we copied. So they created a function, and basically let's say let's have an object, const some object, whatever, not I guess let's be correct here. And then let's say it's empty, and then let's console.log. Console.log, is that like even a word? Console.log. And we'll run that isEmpty function that I found. So that's one of the ways of doing it. And we pass our object here, some object.
and it's empty, it's true, because what it's checking, it's getting the keys in the object. Because we don't have any keys, it must be empty, because objects are a key value pair. So now if I do data equals, you know, some data, now that's going to return false because it has a key. It has key of data. So that's one way to test that the object is empty. What you would do in terms of React, you wouldn't check if the object is empty. You would check if the state exists. You know what I mean? And then normally, like I said, it's going to be an array of objects. If you're just getting one object, or like JSON data, not an array, you could do this as well. And I'll show you this example in a second. So let's kind of look at this article. Another way is to, and this is the one I was thinking, HasOwnProperty. And this basically will, I like this one better because it's shorter, but this is the one that I was using. This is another good one. JSON stringify is cool too. So let's look at this example. Since you asked such a great question, might as well make it a learning experience for everybody, and then we'll talk about the example in React. So let's try this function. And notice what I do, like before, like I could open a new window. So we have our function is empty const my thing. I'm bad at naming stuff. Again, it's going to be an empty object. And so basically what it's going to do, once we pass, let's do console log so you could see it. Console log is empty. And we're going to pass our object in here, my thing. Would help. So is the object empty? True. And so basically we could like console log prop here to see what it shows. Interesting. Prop in object. Maybe object. Maybe because it's empty. Let's see if we type something here. Name equals Paul. Yeah, so prop would be the key or value. Actually, the prop would be the key. So the key in object. And basically it checks if object has own property. So we could console log this. This is it checks, does an object have its own property in it? And I just like to test that code to figure out, so it has its own property. True. So we have a property in the object, true, and so it returns. Is it empty? No, it's not. And so if we delete this, it's going to check, does it have its own property? So no, it doesn't, so the object is empty. So that's a good example. And then the last example is actually using, nobody uses jQuery. Get the hell out of here. Lodash, yeah, but you have to install Lodash to use it. This is another one using stringify. Let's open another tab. So basically what this is going to do, it's going to convert it to a literal string. So if it's empty, it's going to have those brackets. So you're literally checking, is the string of the empty object look like this? If so, it's a match. Then I probably wouldn't use this method, but let's play with it. So if I do const thing, I'm just too lazy to type now. So if I stringify this object, right? If I run this is empty object, and I pass my thing in here. Oh, cool! It's going to say true. It's empty because there's nothing in it. As soon as, because it literally converts it to a string, and then it will compare it. So I don't like this method, but if I do this, boom, it works. So the best ways that I would say is either use this one, object keys, and check for length, or the second way, checking if it has its own property. So what we could do here, I'm going to use this one, and we're going to create an example here. gonna find a page here. Yeah, hold on. We'll come back to this, Anna, in just a second. Let me just kind of off topic, but you think I could eat a bag salad that's not? Oh my God! Not if you want to destroy the toilet, bro. So it's up to you. It's your call. Man, I know exactly how it's gonna end. So you got to take that chance. And yes, probably not. If it smells wet, that's a much better answer. Charles, thank you. If it's wet or smells bad, looks brown or soggy, I wouldn't try it. Yeah, either or will work. You know, but a lot of times, like, you could, like, the way I avoid this, and again, it depends on your use case scenario, is let me go back to my code editor. So imagine, like, I'm gonna break my own, like, I need to find like a different, hold on, screen here. Undo. Let's go home, because I don't think I have app.js here. Home page. Let's go home page here. Let's add. So let's say if you're getting a single item, which is going to be like a object, and you don't want to do that weird extra test like we were doing, destroying bowels after 30. Jesus Christ. I'm 41 now, so when I have bowel problems, not that you guys wondering, it's pretty bad. So I wouldn't have that salad. If I even hint it, it's good or not bad. That's some like bad humor for you guys. So let's say you have a state. Call it const. And we'll say it's data set data. And I know that that data is going to be a single object, right? I'm not going to set the empty state to an object. I would either leave it like this or put null, right? And let's say this is going to be like a div here that's going to display our data. So I'm going to put a node p here. Data will go here. And then here we'll put our data, the thing that we're going to get back in a second. And so what I would do is I would literally go, you know, if data only show the data, right? And let's put it into like h1 tags just to make it easier to see. I don't know what a div tag is. It's a div tag. Yep. So basically, let me pull use state here. So basically, right now, let's go to the page here. Data will go here. Let me put it inside the container so it's easier. Control X. So, okay, data will go here, right? That's where we have that. Right now, we don't have any data because we didn't load anything, you see? So that's how I would check it. I would basically say if there's no data, don't show the data. Now, let's kind of make a use effect that's going to load that state. And we're going to fake a response by using set timeout. Oh, my God, what am I typing here? Use effect. And then in our use state, we're just gonna go set timeout, right? And we pass a function in here, I'm assuming. And we're gonna set data, and we're just gonna pretend we get our object here with the name, and the name is cool. We did it. And then basically what I would do here, let's say we'll give 5 seconds, so it's blatantly takes forever. And then here we just want to put, this is what we want to re-render when we receive the data. We put in data. Sometimes we'll, yeah, that looks good. So now what's going to happen, and we know we're going to have data dot name when we get it back. So it's going to be data dot name, that object. So now if I go back, maybe it won't. Jesus Christ, what are you doing, Paul? You got to put this in brackets. Boom. So let me reset here. So data will go here. We count 5 seconds. And then cool, we did it. That's our object. And the way I test it for this is by putting this check, right? I'm not even like, because I don't care if it's an object. I just care, is the state set? Is there data? So in this case, this is one way to do it. Is it appropriate for your use case? I'm not sure. And so let's say that the data never gets set, right? We never call this timeout. So the application's not going to break. It's just going to never update the state. It's just going to say data will go here. And so I'm literally just checking if the state was set after the synchronous call was complete. And if you look here, it's actually very similar to the way it's implemented in my example with GraphQL here. So if I go to projects here, notice how kind of similar idea. I mean, a more appropriate way would be if data, if no data, this is another way to do it. God damn it. What did I click? Where did I go? Projects. Wow, my mouse is going crazy. Stop mouse. Go back. I wasn't here. I was not here. Where is this? Where is this? Here we go. And you could just say, return. That's another way to do it. Basically, if the data is not available, you could just return null. I also show you here that, I'm so dumb, I used it right here, that same example here. You see I'm doing that check exactly the way I just demonstrated. You just check for the state. If the state change, if the data exists, then do the thing that you want. So that's one way to handling without having to, do that complex, check the actual object to see if it's empty. And the truth is, now we looked at and we saw 3 different ways of being able to check those objects. I hope that made sense, Anna. Because that barely made sense to me, to be honest with you. Yeah. Gonna go for it. Yes. Then, or no. Hey, good night, everyone. Keep it up. I'm assuming that says good night. If it's good night, good night. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for checking out the stream. So yeah, and so that's one way to handle it. So if you guys have questions, any other questions will be awesome. But the point is, we're gonna continue working on our project. This is kind of so far so good. This is the progress I made. We're gonna keep working on it. You could join us on our. Hey, I'm glad it was helpful, Anna. I hope. Yeah, so the point here is that unless you try things out, unless you're building stuff from scratch, it's going to be very hard for you to feel comfortable about your experience getting a job as a developer. And so this is the reason why I have this project, is because I want to, on the live stream, to start from nothing. If you were here 5 weeks ago, this application didn't work at all. I had more bugs than I do now. It didn't even, the logout didn't work, right? If I want to see detail, this didn't work. Logging in did not work. Being able to or unlike certain things didn't work. I didn't have this avatar image here. It didn't work, right? So the point is you need to start somewhere. You need to have a plan. I had a very simple plan that I made. Look, I'm not trying to make it too complex. I said, all I want people to be able to do, I want people to have this easy way to either see the detail of the project and be able to add comments and messages. And so for our data, in our database, we have our object for likes, we have our objects for portfolio, we have an object for users, and we have object for comments. So that's 4 things in our database. And if I were to bring my PG admin, if I would bring my PG admin, that also like to show you like the items in the data table. If you guys curious, that's what's in there. And again, you don't have to be an expert at a database, but you should kind of know what a database is. You should kind of know how to look up the data when you add stuff, because sometimes when you're testing your back end, you might do like, okay, look, I put my data in, you know, I made the changes, but it's not showing up on the screen. And so you will want to be able to have a mechanism to check, did it actually write to the database? So let me bring this, close this, bring this over here. So I haven't used this in like forever. Don't feel like I'm an expert. So plugin dev plugin, Jonah, that's something else. Import data. Am I running this one? Postgres, schemas, tables. I don't remember. I have so many different names here that like I don't remember which one I had. Anyway, but the point is it Strappy? No, it can't be that one because that one's not connected. Be able to go and look stuff up in your database. So search, refresh. Hold on. This is like funny of speaking, like somebody was talking about MongoDB, and one of my other projects I worked on was the MongoDB, but this is using PostgreSQL catalogs. It takes me forever to figure out where to look stuff up here. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is too many things here. Schemas, unless this. Oh my God, what am I doing? Tables. This is nope. This is not the table I'm looking for. To be honest with you, I have so many different databases open. Not sure which one I'm utilizing. Anyway, the point is, what I'm saying is that you should be able to, and I miserably failed right now under pressure under the stream, look up the data changes that you're making, you know, in your API in the database is something you want to be familiar with doing. Anyway, so we're going to keep working on it. Hologram Nunchuck said to eat dinner, but I went back and heard your answer to my question. I'll spend more time with use refs and forward ref. Thanks, man. Man, you're welcome, Hologram Nunchucks. Awesome. Fantastic. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to keep building my project. And look, guys, a lot of the stuff that I do, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to break things. I'm going to give stupid answers sometimes, but I'm not afraid to put myself out there, and you shouldn't be either, because being a programmer is a performance-based job, believe it or not. At the end of the day, they're going to ask you for stuff to do, and you're going to have to be able to do it. If you can't do it, which half the time I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm able to start to know where to start looking for the answer to be able to figure out what I need to do to accomplish my goal. You know what I mean? And so if you're just doing only tutorials, it is going to be very hard for you guys to make progress. And this is the whole point of this live stream. I don't care if you guys laugh at me, if you guys think I'm stupid. The whole point for me is to put myself out there and to show you that I'm building stuff, that I'm writing code. You should too. The challenge for all of you guys who watch this stream is to have a project that you're building on. If you ever wanted to come and talk to me about your project, even if it's just to tell me about what stack you use, go over your code and practice talking about your code as if you were on an interview, let me know. I would love to help you guys out. I know I talked to some of you guys on our Discord, and let me share our Discord link here. I see if somebody liked. It's definitely not for me. It's definitely for the kitty on my table. But here's our Discord link. And, you know, you could go into Discord. Any questions for the stream? We have that Tuesday night live stream channel there. And I'm also want to get better at doing coaching. And at some point, I'm definitely going to start charging for coaching, just because I want to make this into a job, a business. I really like helping, and so might as well somehow figure out how to make money. But while I'm still getting better at it, I am volunteering 4 hours of my time a week. First come, first serve. If you guys want to get some one-on-ones doing JavaScript, React, hit me up on either, on Discord or, somewhere else or whatever. This guy is the mentor. All the other YouTubers tell you this is like the greatest compliment ever. Man, thank you, Christian. I don't know if I'm the mentor. Like, I'm definitely, I want to help, but at the same time, like, I'm no expert. I am just a student, just like you guys. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm in the best place to give advice, because I don't lie about my skill. I don't lie about my accomplishments. Like, I'm like very public. I mean, what do you want to say? The kitty wants to say something to you. All right, kitty. Okay, buddy. Let's go. I should bring the cat out more often because apparently she gets all the likes. But like, if you go to my website, paulboslavsky.com, that's my real name. The kitty's not happy. She's like, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. She loves playing with the mouse. And so, I'm very public. You go to my website. This is my real name. Please don't call me. That's my real phone number, real information. I'm in the trenches. I started from nothing. I self-taught. I was able to get a job, and I totally know the struggle. You go to my LinkedIn. You guys should all have a LinkedIn. I'm a real person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like trying to pull one over anybody. I want to just give you the realest advice, not to get views on YouTube. I want you guys to be able to get jobs. Oh, look, a lot of people say nice things about Paul. Paul is extremely motivated. No, let's not read the rest of it. Whatever. Enough tooting my own horn. But the point that I'm saying is that my goal, this is like me trying to sell you on my qualification, why you should get tutoring from me eventually. My goal is to become the best developer I can and to help others to achieve the same goal. Because I'm fairly new on my journey, and because I started late in my life and made all the mistakes, I know what it's like for new people trying to break into the field. I know what it's like to struggle, and I know that there's a lot of advice online that's, I'm not saying it's bad, but there's a lot of, like, the whole point online, everybody's fighting for your attention. So a lot of times people will tell you things just to keep your attention and not really talk about the most important thing that you guys should be building, and you should probably not be watching too many YouTube videos and stuff like that. And so that's the most important thing to remember. And like, I'm here to be like, listen, this is what you got to do. You got to make sure that you're doing the work. I'm going to tell you straight up. And this is the struggles I had. This is what I did. Make sure you guys, by the way, have your GitHub. I know I showed this before, but let me show you what 5 years of not doing the work and being lazy. I could have had a job 5 years ago. I will definitely do that with my kitty later tonight. I mean, that sounded wrong. Yes, I will show lots of love to my cat. Those are my sister cats, by the way. Yeah, don't watch Tech Rally. Tech Rally, what is that called? Like reverse psychology. Don't watch Tech Rally. Listen, Tech Rally, doesn't matter what he talks about on his channel. He could be talking about cupcakes. His voice is so soothing that how can you not listen to Tech Rally? Like, I wish I had a voice like Tech Rally back when I was dating. I would have been like unstoppable. Like Tech Rally, as soon as he starts talking, 5 words into it, 5 sentences into it, I'm gone. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. So let me show you what 5 years of being lazy. This is what I'm telling you. You got to build stuff from scratch. You got to build your own stuff. You got to do the work. This is me in 2013. I started trying to learn to code 2013. Can't even do my, yeah, don't watch Tech Rally, just subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Listen, some of us don't get our worth from subscribers like me. I mean, subscribe to my channel. Tech Rally has more subscribers than I do. So seriously, this is messed up. I should have more subscribers than Tech Rally, straight up. Like, just saying. But we love Tech Rally on this channel. He's amazing. If you haven't seen his content, check him out. But look, 2013, I'm not even sharing my screen because I'm an idiot. Share my screen. 2003, this is what laziness works here, or not being committed to what you do. In 2003, I started in 2013. It took me until 2020 to get a job, or 2019, whatever, I don't remember. 2014, nothing, lazy as hell, doing bad. 2015, look, one measly commit. What is that for? 2016, more BS, not doing anything. 2017, 3 commits. Look, 2018, I started to take it more seriously. 2019, I started taking it more seriously. 2020, killing it. 2021, obviously, killing it even more. And by the way, let me show you guys something. Let me show you some motivation. By the way, my journey was really, really difficult. Like, don't get me wrong. My journey was really hard. But let's go to my inbox messages. Anya, Amazon would like to speak to you. Are you open to considering new job opportunities with Amazon? Okay. Here, William, JP Morgan is looking to build a team of engineers of highly confident professionals. So many recruiters, so many people are gonna start reaching out to you once you get that initial experience, and you get there by building the portfolio, by doing the things that you have to do. And again, I'm still at the beginning of my journey, and don't get me wrong, like if I lose my job, I'll probably fucked it, like I'm gonna have to find another one, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt, it's gonna be hard. But the point is, once you get your first job, you get your experience, the second job is a little bit easier to do. Once you get your third job, is even easier. And so don't give up, keep working at it. You're all gonna get there. And this Tuesday night stream, I did today spend a lot more time talking about other things. Mostly wanted to talk about code, but we did do some code examples. We did some good stuff. We asked and answered some questions. And I'm going to continue building this project for you guys. If you want to go on the live and talk about your projects, talk about your code, what you did, what you're doing, let me know. I would love to chat with you and help you guys out. And, Tech Rally here. Hold on a second. I'll come back to Tech Rally. Talk about my amazing singing. I am the most amazing singer you've never wanted to hear in your life. No auto-tune necessary. True, no auto-tune necessary. I mean, I could just sing right now. See, beautiful. I sing better than anybody. More serious. I'm learning Java and SQL. That's very good. And one thing I would say, like, whatever you guys learn, if it's Java, if it's SQL, if C#, look, let me tell you this right now. Like, there's no bad programming language. I mean, there's programming language that might be not in demand. There's definitely Java jobs around. There's definitely Python jobs around. There's C# jobs around. I'm never going to tell you that you have to do React and JavaScript. I'm never going to tell you one language is better than the other. What I'm going to tell you is pick what is in demand in your area and what you enjoy learning. And that's it. The point for this channel for me is not to be like, what are you doing? Unless it's Firebase. I'm not saying don't use Firebase. I'm just saying that as a beginner, you can, but you'll be able to find more useful things to do, like build something with SQL because it's more common. But anyway, Java and SQL, nothing wrong with that because there's plenty of programming jobs around. So instead of fighting about what language to learn, what to do, pick one, stick with one, and get a job with it. Like I'll give you an example. When I first started my first job, I only knew React and JavaScript. But part of my requirement at my job, they were like, look, we do full stack development here and we want you to transition into full stack. So you need to learn ASP.NET and C#. I didn't want to learn ASP.NET C#, but they were already paying me and it's part of my job. So I did learn ASP.NET. And you know what? I liked it. It was a great language. And if I never left that job, I would continue to learn ASP.NET and C#. Then when I left the job, I got my next job that I'm currently at. I'm doing React and Node.js type of stuff. And then part of our backend is in Python. So if I want to continue to work at this company, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn Python. Did I ever have intention to learn Python? No, but this job, this is one way for me to add value. So if you ask me, I am language agnostic and I will learn whatever language is necessary. And that's the whole point. You want to focus on being the best developer that you can be, period, and everything else will fall into place. If you could do your job, if you could do it well, and that's what I'm striving to do, you guys are going to get there. And super chat 9.99 from CW. Thank you for your knowledge, man. Thank you, brother. I'm still trying to figure out how this whole YouTube works, but most importantly, I just want to talk about coding and become a better programmer, because the more I talk to you guys about coding, the more confident I feel possibly in my next interview. Tech Rally, always good laughs, clip it all. Lol on your singing. Yeah, it's amazing. Voice of an angel. That's exactly what my cats think. And saying hello to Tech Rally, Sub Nunchucks, CCV, yep, all winning all around. And that's 100%. So any questions about anything you want me to go over? I'm a girl, lol. Yeah, it's hard to tell with like names like CCVB, but hey, I appreciate everybody on our stream, except Tech Rally. He's always rude. He always comes back and says complete nonsense. Like, what's wrong with that guy? Tech Rally? No, by the way, Tech Rally, if you're looking for some interview tips, some good interviews, some good like all around like knowledge, go to check out his channel. Subscribe, give him as much subscriptions as you can, because I am going to make I'm gonna like skyrocket probably like at some point and leave him in the dust. So go give him as much love as you can, you know what I'm saying? Like help the guy out, even though he has way more viewers than I do, just because he's handsome and has a good voice. Probably that's messed up, you know what I mean? Like us old guys, we try to make a hard living and he just goes off his good looks and his sexy voice. So like, what are you gonna do, But yeah, do you guys any other questions? Because if you guys have questions, because and if you haven't smashed the like button, and you could tell this is getting close to an hour and a half of stream because we're starting to get ridiculous, but if you haven't smashed the like button, smash it for all your friends here, smash it for Tech Rally on my behalf on this channel. And if you for some reason did not subscribe to this channel, what do you guys listen? Tech Rally, I'm not even gonna start the real beef here. You're getting all the big names. I don't want to talk about it because it's I don't want to you're getting all the, because you know who I'm talking about. You're getting all the big names and doing all the big collabs on your channel with the most successful YouTube channels. By the way, you're gonna kill it, bro. You're gonna be very successful. Definitely, have no question about it. You have some great personality, and you just got to keep at it and keep doing it. And one day, if you keep practicing, you'll be able to be as personable as I am, and stuff like that. But it takes years, I wasn't born like this. This is all developed skill working as a, insurance sales guy. How are you supposed to sell insurance policies to, people's grannies if you can't be personable? You know what I'm saying? Tech Rally, that's a great question. To be honest, this okay, all joking aside, because Tech Rally here has a very good question. Do you still consider yourself a junior engineer? And my first job was terrible. I got hit with the imposter syndrome really hard, and this is actually something I still struggle to this day, and I still feel like a junior developer, even though I am getting better. And the thing here that I want to say, and thanks Tech Rally for kind of bringing things back to serious, is that we all gonna deal with stuff, and there he goes the jokes. Try to keep it serious here, Tech Rally. I thought he said I'm at level 40. Okay, I'll forgive him. Yeah, I am at level 41, bro. But with all seriousness, is we all gonna have this imposter syndrome and feel like we're not good enough. The best thing I could say, and this is very hard. This is very hard to do. Don't think about how you feel, but think about the process of learning and getting better. So if you're stuck at something, take a little break, come back, break it down to smaller pieces and start working at it. I'll give you an example. Today, I looked at the code for a long time, and I just did not know where the issue was. I walked away, took some time, came back, still had no idea where the issue is. And little by little, I was able to figure out where the issue was Did I solve it completely? No, but at least I know like the code that I have to work on, which took forever. And bro, Tech Rally, I really appreciate it. You're a solid developer, man. I saw your code, and it's definitely not junior level. Junior senior is just the title anyway. Thanks, man. It's like, I appreciate it. Hey, I try my best. I'm here to literally talk about my journey, becoming the best developer that I can, like past my prime time, past my 30s and 40s. And I want to help you do it in the best way I can, because I really like talking. I love YouTube. Like, I don't want to make a career as a YouTuber, but I do enjoy talking. So doing like personal coaching, or maybe one day making a tutorial, like personal coaching, 100%. I'm going to start that up. And it's not going to be career advice. I mean, I could give career advice as well, the way I did it, but I want to also talk about development stuff and coding. And, if you want to take advantage of that, like hit me up on Discord. I'll let you guys, I'll work with you guys, of course. I would love to help, and I'd love to help on this live stream. But the point, what I'm trying to say, my drive is to be the best developer I can, not the best YouTuber that I can. You know what I mean? And so hopefully it'll work out for me on YouTube too. But, if I have YouTube or if I don't have YouTube, I want to make sure that I'm a good enough of a developer that I could at least have one source of income that will allow me to take care of myself. So, did your interviewer ever ask if you knew anything about troubleshooting or if you knew about hardware? In all the positions that I applied to, no, they didn't. A lot of times, to me, I don't know if it's true or not, but I would say, if someone asks me that type of question, unless it's like debugging code, that's different. But if it's troubleshooting hardware or network or stuff like that, that means two things. I either applied to the wrong job, which is more IT oriented, which is nothing wrong with that, or the ad that they were looking for programmers, but at the end they were looking for IT people, was wrong. And so the point is that anytime someone asks me about like troubleshooting or printing, or like not printing, but like networking, hardware, all that other stuff, I'm like, oh, this is not what I was looking for. So I would go somewhere else. And so you might get a company that will do that, but definitely the goal is to be a developer. So if they're asking you about stuff, they're asking you to code something, to debug something, or God forbid, algorithms and data structures. Yeah, thanks, Tech Rally. Yeah, and recommend charging for your time. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna have a tiered system. And for first, like I'm gonna start like very affordable prices, because I do want to get practice better at teaching. And for me, like I'm not gonna do 40 hours a week. I'm gonna dedicate some time, because I do have a full-time job. I'm doing good with money, it's fine. So this is more to get started, and as I build my clientele. So like I'll give you an example. So there's this girl, Katya, who I helped out. I met with her many times. I gave her advice. She wanted to pay me. I was like, no, don't worry, don't pay me, because I wanted to make sure that the things that I was teaching and showing work. And so based on my advice and her hard work, I don't want to like undersell her. She did the majority of the work. She was able to transition and switch careers and become a React developer. And so I know the stuff that I talk about works. It worked in her case. And, the only thing I want from her is one day give me a nice testimonial, so I could be like, oh, check out what someone said about me. And like, I still feel like I'm at the beginning. So I might try to have like a few of you who are dedicated to my streams, who watch me, just, let me help you, and then you could help me give a nice testimonial. But don't worry, I will charge, of course. I got to feed my cats. I got 2 of them. Bro, you're saying you're rich. I'm rich with love, my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a simple man. I got my laptop, I got my camera, I got my 2 cats, and one bed, and a TV that I use as my monitor. And I got this wall back here, and I don't need anything else. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I enjoy teaching, and obviously I want to make a living too. That counts, but I'm not gonna like chase money at all costs. I want to make sure that this is my goal. My goal is to provide massive value, so much value that you guys feel bad and you start paying me. Like literally, that's what I want to do. I want to give so much value that you guys are gonna be like, God damn, this guy, how can we pay him money? He's got to take our money. He's got to, and I'll be like, no, don't give me money. And then you're like, no, take it. And you start throwing bags of money at me, not because I'm chasing the money, but because the value that I provide is so intense that you're like, Jesus, this guy got to eat. This guy's need food on his table. That's like my goal. Like, I'm very like value focused, and I love to help. And obviously there's plenty of people in the world that if you value my help, I feel like I'm going to get rewarded, but I don't have to constantly like upsell and show fancy cars or what have you to try to like convince anybody, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of people, so let's see here. Any comments? And by the way, Tech Rally, we got to get together again. I love our live streams. They're kind of cool, as always. We got to get on our live stream. Tech Rally, when you coming on? Let's schedule something, because obviously big YouTubers don't want to talk to me. I can't get on any big YouTubers channels like Tech Rally can. Tech Rally had one with Chris Sean and Coding Face. Are you kidding me? That's like two gods of YouTube, and which is amazing. Tech Rally is killing it, and Coding Face is awesome. Chris Sean, he has his own market. I'm not a big fan, but he's a good dude. I say I don't like him, but he's just not my cup of tea. But he's successful on YouTube. He's a good YouTuber. Did they ever ask you anything about binary trees? Another great question. So it really depends like where you go for jobs. So most of the places I went to, they never asked me to do binary trees or graphs. It was more like, build something, doing a lot of array methods, string methods, working with objects. And it's probably because I was interviewing for junior dev jobs. By the way, the tree stuff and, working with graphs and bunch of sorting stuff like that, some companies do ask for. Like if you're going to work for Amazon, Google, Jesus Christ, you need to know that stuff inside and out, to be able to, get anywhere. And so don't get discouraged if you get to an interview where they ask that and you're not prepared for it, because you can just apply somewhere else. But with that being said, because everybody's goal is to get good at development, eventually you should know those things and should know how to do them. My only caveat is this: if you have not built 3 to 4 projects, like really good quality projects that showcase that you know how to code, that someone could hire you based on your projects, don't even bother learning algorithms, because you have nothing in your portfolio. What are you going to show up to an interview with an empty portfolio? Unless you have a college degree, like a CS degree, maybe that's different, But once you have 3 to 5 projects, not even 3 to 5, once you have 2 to 3 projects, like really significant ones, then you could start learning algorithms. Like I started learning algorithm data structures now because I'm at a point where I could build a lot of stuff comfortably. And so the good stuff, now I'm learning the hard stuff. Web Dev Junkie, amazing guy. By the way, he has a great YouTube channel. You should check it out. A lot of great tutorials. Do you do DevOps stuff at work? In my case, no. We have a designated guy who handles our deployment, which I'm thankful for that, because it's like a whole other thing to learn. I know that eventually there are certain companies where, that's part of your job. Maybe if it's a smaller company, but in my case, in all the jobs that I worked before, we all had a designated DevOps person, which is great for me because I just want to focus on building stuff and not worrying about deployment, because that's like a whole lot of headaches. But in case of like, it depends where you're at. Like I'll give you this, like, and there's like DevOps professionals. Of course, you guys know this, but like for me, being like a junior to mid-level developer, that's kind of what I think I am, is that I'm still focusing on the development stuff, and I don't want to learn anything new if I still feel like I have so much more to learn in my current domain. But I think as I progress to more senior level, I'm pretty sure that I would definitely want to get to DevOps, understanding how it works, how to deploy stuff, how to automate stuff, and all this other stuff. Then it'll become very, 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 very like important. But for me right now, no, not a thing. But great question. Do you do DevOps stuff at your job? Yeah, and I think like there's so many places with so many different, like this is what I tell myself, like at least like so I don't feel bad. Like it's like, look, Paul, whatever you learn, whatever you do, you are going to be able to get a job because there's a position for everybody. There might be like somebody who, like, a lot of people say like, Paul, why aren't you learning algorithm data structures? Don't you know you need to know? No, because I want all the smart people work at Google. I'm not trying to compete with those Google engineers. I'm trying to compete with like a different stuff. So like if I get an interview which is algo heavy, like math involved, a lot of like data structures, that's a job I don't want to do. Like, I'm not a computer scientist. I don't want to like focus on solving computer science problems. No, I want to have a computer scientist figure that stuff out, and I want to implement that stuff. That's where I want to work. I want to build stuff. Like, I'm kind of creative, and this is what I want to do. And so, like, the truth is, like, for most people, it's you will find a home for yourself. You just got to decide what you're done. And Web Dev Junkie, I'm thinking of doing more AW DevOps stuff on my channel. I'm burnt out on React videos. You know, like, that's insane. I talked to somebody else about it, you know, that's doing a lot of React stuff. And they said the same thing. And also, the React market on YouTube is literally so saturated. Like, it's insane. It's insane. The only reason I talk about React because, like, I do React at my job, and I'm kind of like building my project because I'm still trying to become better React developer. But if you've been doing React for a while and you're like, oh, this is great. Yeah. And I think like going, yeah, and that's cool. I'm the go-to person for Terraform, AWS stuff on my project currently, so I may just specialize more. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a good transition to do that. And look, I've taught jiu-jitsu for like 16 years, you know. Like, if you do anything for more than 5-10 years, it's going to start to be like, Jesus, what am I doing? So I think there's nothing wrong, and I think you're smart finding something different to specialize in or something different to switch to, because I know 5 years from now I probably won't be talking about React, maybe because there'll be something cooler, but maybe also because my interest is going to be solving different challenges. And I think you know, that's awesome. And I think there's a lot of need for DevOps stuff. So, I mean, you'll do good either way, but I think that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? You know, any recommendations? Next Tuesday, we'll do more code than we did today. But I did want to kind of show you where I was. And we did do plenty of code. We did plenty of code. Sometimes it's nice to relax. And then always we hear Saturday streams. 6 p.m. Central Time, US Central Time, which we just talk about random stuff and cool stuff. But do you guys have any other questions? I know we've been going on for a while. As long as there's questions, you know, I will continue to answer them. Did you get a new camera recently? No, I still use the same camera. I think the difference is that I got like a light more direct in front of my face, and I just got better lighting. I think last time my past videos it was like overexposure or the lighting wasn't good enough, so it was bad. No, but I still have the same camera, Lumix G85, about like bajillion years ago. Great little camera. If I'm going to invest in something, I'm waiting for the new MX1 or whatever they're going to be called, Max. I think that's going to be awesome. You know, try to do something. But yeah. And by the way, guys, if you haven't smashed the like button, what are you guys waiting for? Smash it like it's nobody's business. Not for me, but for your friends who are joining us on this amazing live stream. Listen, I'm the wrong person to ask this question or answer this question. How much could a junior developer actually make, honestly? Because I started my junior development role, it was $13.75, like $13.75 an hour, which is ridiculous. Like, but I did it because the experience was huge. After a year and a half of working for $13.75, I left my company. My next job, I got paid $40 an hour. That's where I'm at. I don't mind like sharing how much I make. I want to be honest with you guys. But with like what I would say, don't focus on the pay. The pay will come, even though like I do believe like you should follow the money, but you shouldn't chase it people say follow your passion, follow your passion. I get it. But then there's people that say follow the money, follow the money. I get it. But coding, if I did not love it, I would literally jump out the window. Like, it is very difficult when you get stuck. You deal with frustration pretty much on a daily basis as a programmer. So you do have to enjoy it. And that's why good developers get compensated very well, because not everybody could do this work. And so what I would say, if you enjoy it, just focus on the process of building stuff, improving your skill, and becoming a better developer, because this is the only field I feel that in 3 to 5 years you could make over 100K. And that's probably an understatement, but I'll be happy with over 100K. You know, no big deal for me. I don't need to be a bajillionaire. But definitely that's what I would say. And so what am I live coding? Like, I'll quickly show you. Nothing super crazy. Not like, bro, like you're like way better developer than I am. So, like I had this idea, which is hilarious. I had this idea a long time ago because I bought the domain a long time ago. God damn it. Why am I losing my mind? Oh, Dennis Ivey. He actually created his Python course, and it's the same almost goddamn idea that I wanted to have. But basically, like, and we had like the scope right now is like super short of this project. It's nothing too impressive at the moment, but it's going to get there. So basically, I wanted to create simple UI. You'll be able to add your projects. You'll be able to like, check the details. If you're not logged in, you can't see the details. You can't like anything. So once you log in, it'll basically show simple, like your detailed projects, a little message that people could leave you. And basically, it's a way for developers to share their portfolios and like and comment. And basically for our database, we just have our likes, portfolio, comments, users. I'm using Strappy on the back end and GraphQL to get all the data. So, and by the way, that's just like the first basic minimum viable product. What I want to do is at least get users to be able to share their stuff. And there's like stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. Yeah, I think that's the one he did. Then the dev portfolio one. So I call this one Dev Hunt. I bought the domain a while ago. I had this idea for a while, but here's the basic idea. So if you're logged out, like if you want to like, you got to log in. I want people that are going to be leaving comments, liking or whatever. I want to put the name to them. So less trolls. But if you want to see the details, you have to log in. Like, you know, I got the basic authentication working. You log in, you're able to like, you know, you're able to see the detailed project. I didn't add information here, but the basic idea here is for like a quick kind of view of people to be able to showcase what they're working on. I'm going to put like the tech stack, basic description, like a basic image of the app. For the developer, have their LinkedIn, their GitHub. This would be their website. For now, I put my YouTube, and then their resume or their website. They'll be able to show their live demo, right? This is actually for this project, so this is live what I got so far. Or you could see their GitHub. It's like basic stuff, and then little by little, I'm gonna in phases add more and more functionality. But my ideal goal for this is to create a way for people to build their projects, to have like a ability to manage their projects, like a project management tool. But more importantly is to create a community where people upvote projects and able to give feedback. And then the next phase of that is going to be a running score for the top voted projects and developers. And the way you'll be able to raise your score is by having quality portfolio projects that people like, but also getting out there and helping people. So the more you help, the higher score you're going to have. And then eventually I want to make this available for recruiters to be able to search the top developers on this platform and easily be able to connect with them. That's the goal. I don't know if I'll ever get there. And I'm using the auth that came with Strappy, but just because right now I'm building like a simple prototype. I want to get all the functionality done that I just kind of talked about. And then I'm going to come back, refactor, and tone things down. So right now it's using basic, JWT authentication that's with Strappy, but I do want to use Auth0 and kind of do this. But right now, like I want to build the minimum viable product as quickly as possible, and I want to get users on it to play with it, to test it, and then as that's happening, I'll create a little section where you could like leave a bug or whatever. I'm gonna come back and refactor it, but I want to kind of move fast, which I'm not moving fast because I'm only doing this every Tuesday, and then to get to where I want to go. Yeah, but more importantly, I'm just like really want to make sure that I get a really solid understanding of React and the way it works with GraphQL. And right now I'm using Strappy, which kind of makes using GraphQL in the backend very easy, but also gives you ways to customize it. But my like final goal will be, like, I don't know how many years from now, to build a backend with Node, Express, and like GraphQL server or whatever, like basically create the backend from scratch as well. But basically build a full stack application. And I guess like the more important goal for me is to actually have a website that I have users. So I want to be able to go like, hey, I built this project. Not only is the project my portfolio, but I actually have actual users that are using it, you know, and then I'll come to you for help on doing some DevOps stuff, and that'll be amazing. So, but that's it. So, hey guys, I feel my voice is starting to slowly give up. If you guys jumped on this stream late, that's okay. I record all of them and I leave them all for you guys to see them when you want. The Tuesday 7 p.m. Central Time stream is more about coding, more about building this project. You do learn some stuff, you know. It's great. You could ask me questions, but the most important part the reason why I'm doing it is because it took me like years to actually build the project for my portfolio. And the reason why is because we start building something and then we move on to something else, and then we move on to something else. So we never practice the most important skill that you will be useless. Okay, this is the most important lesson I learned from my work. You will be completely useless if you cannot deliver a deliverable and deploy. You will be useless. And so the goal for me, yeah, I definitely need water with coffee in it, but just kidding, water for sure. The goal here is for me and for you guys is to build deliverables and deploy. This is why I keep talking about this concept of putting users on this application as soon as possible, because you could have done many tutorials, you could have done many mini projects, but if you haven't finished one from start to finish, that's bad. You need to build something from start to finish, put in your portfolio, and that's what's going to give you that experience to become a better developer. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm just telling you, you don't want to have a rude awakening your first 2 weeks at a job and not knowing what you're doing. And that happens a lot. And that was the case for me. And when you're not sure and you're constantly playing catch up at your job, your 2 months, 3 months, for me, it was like the first 3 months, I felt like, oh my God, today's the day. I'm going to get fired. Oh my God. Stressed out all the time. And so that's the most important part. So anyway, with that being said, if you guys jumping on late, you could always catch it in reverse. If not, you could always check me out next stream, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Saturday, we do just coffee, code, and chat. 6 p.m. Central Time. And I'm going to release some more videos on the regular YouTube just when I have time. But I really love talking to you guys. So, you know, I really appreciate all the awesome comments I got from you. The community here, like especially all of you guys who jump on here, is so amazing. You guys, like, whenever I lose motivation and I feel like quitting, like, you guys are the ones that help me to power through it. And I hope I do the same for you guys when you feel like you're losing the motivation and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, that you watch some of my videos, like, you know what, if this idiot could do it, like, so can I. And, you know, staying very positive. And like I said, the goal of this channel to be the most positive, funniest, best looking, or at least better looking than Tech Rally YouTuber online who just does family-friendly content. I know I swear once in a while, so I gotta kind of cut that down. But thanks all of you guys who made it. Hologram Nunchucks, Web Dev Junkie, always love when you're coming in. CCVV, all the people, Tech Rally, if he's still here, you know, loitering. You know, everybody who came on, and I'm like, you know, Anna was here, Julie was here, Charles was here, so many people, Alex, Wally, Nick, Luke. The list goes on, but I can't scroll up that much. And if you want to give a final like, you can, but you don't have to. And with that being like, best looking, 100%. Tech Rally, you're a sexy man. Like your poor girlfriend, how does she live with you? Because she's like, all these girls that keep checking you out, she's like, she's probably like runs a tight ship, because she's like, I can't be not 100% in front of Tech Rally, because Tech Rally could have whoever he wants. I see some of these cute YouTubers you get on your channel. I see it. I'm just kidding. I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm just teasing. I love Tech Rally. I love like Web Dev Junkie, like great stuff. Like I think the most important thing that I want to say, everybody has strong opinions on YouTube. The most important part is that there's plenty of people for you to emulate, follow, or to learn from. You just have to find someone that you resonate with, and and if it makes you be productive and gets you to get off your butt and do work, 100%. And with that being said, like, much love to all of you guys. 95% of my audience, dude, yeah, but that 5% are probably hot chicks, Tech Rally. By the way, I think because I'm losing my voice, it's starting to get more sexy. Yeah, my voice is starting to get more sexy because, I'm starting to lose my voice. Now, that sounds creepy. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? My God. All right. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Have a great rest of the week. And, build stuff, all right? And enjoy the process. And I hope that all of you guys who are here and not here, best wishes to you, to your family. I hope that all the things you strive to accomplish this week, you will. And with that being said, man, have a good night. I'll see you guys later. Then the awkward way to find the off button, I have no idea where the off button is. How you end the stream. All my secrets. Yes. Anyway, where's the end stream button? All right, guys, have a good night, and I'll see you guys later. Is it done? Is it over? Oh God, it's over. Oh my God. I'm just kidding. I know you guys are here. You thought I was going to talk crap about you guys. I love you all. Have a good night, for real this time.